In the noise of global trade wars, one power shift has gone largely unnoticed. While headlines focused on Asia and BRICS, Canada quietly began absorbing U.S. manufacturing at a pace not seen in decades. Since mid-2024, over a dozen factories across the Rust Belt and southern U.S. states have relocated north, not to China, not to Mexico, but to Ontario, Quebec, and Alberta. The trigger? A perfect storm of new tariffs, regulatory uncertainty, and a Canadian government laser-focused on long-term industrial stability. And unlike China or Mexico, Canada offers something else: legal alignment, labor transparency, and free trade under the USMCA. In 2025, this trifecta has become more valuable than ever. U.S. companies aren't just shifting operations, they're shifting loyalties. And this is just the beginning. Welcome to Geo Capitalist, where we decode global wealth, one power shift at a time. If this kind of analysis matters to you, hit that subscribe button. The world is changing faster than the headlines can follow. Today, we're uncovering why 10 U.S. states are losing factories to Canada at a pace that's hard to believe. Let's dive in. In 2025, Canada's federal and provincial governments rolled out an aggressive industrial plan that's redefining North American manufacturing. Ontario committed over $12 billion to build EV corridors, battery supply chains, and retraining programs for auto workers. Quebec granted tax holidays of up to 10 years for semiconductor fabs, targeting spillover from U.S.-China tensions in chip manufacturing. Alberta, once dependent on oil, has pivoted to green steel, hydrogen hubs, and AI-optimized freight logistics, now attracting more foreign direct investment than any Canadian province. But the real move came from Ottawa, a $28 billion clean industrial fund, launched in Q1 2025. Unlike past stimulus programs, this fund doesn't just support local growth. It actively recruits U.S. companies with targeted incentives. Key clauses include expedited permits in under 90 days, export tax credits tied to low-emission output, and a dual stamp program that lets companies label goods as both Canadian-made and USMCA compliant, boosting access to U.S. markets without triggering tariffs. Since launch, the program has drawn over 80 corporate relocations or expansions from the U.S., according to BDC data. And foreign investment into Canadian manufacturing rose 43% year-over-year in the first half of 2025. This isn't random, it's strategic, and it's working. The first wave hits, Michigan and Ohio lead the shift. If there's one place that feels this shift first, it's the American Midwest. In Michigan and Ohio, home to the legacy of Ford, GM, and Chrysler, factories are quietly downsizing. In their place, new auto plants springing up just across the border in Windsor, Ontario. This isn't just about cost. While Michigan grapples with rising union tensions and stalled contract talks, Ontario is rolling out fast-track permits and EV manufacturing rebates. In 2025, Windsor secured a $2.3 billion EV battery plant that Michigan had lobbied for. Ohio, meanwhile, lost a Tier 1 auto parts supplier to London, Ontario. Companies cite stable electricity pricing, labor certainty, and cleaner grid emissions as deciding factors. It's not a mass exodus yet, but the momentum is growing and the symbolism is powerful. The very states that built America's auto industry are watching their crown jewels relocate just miles across the border. The South has long positioned itself as America's industrial comeback zone, with low corporate taxes, anti-union laws, and massive land availability. But in 2025, even here, Canada is pulling ahead. South Carolina recently lost a Tier 2 aerospace parts supplier to Quebec. The deciding factors? Lower industrial electricity rates, streamlined port access to Europe, and Canada's new Clean Export Fast Lane, launched in May 2025 to expedite permits for North American-bound shipments. In Texas, plans for a $600 million chip fabrication plant were shelved after the company accepted a relocation deal from Alberta. which included natural gas at 30% below U.S. averages and a fully zoned megasite ready in under 90 days. Georgia, once the darling of U.S. auto manufacturing, was bypassed by two major EV parts suppliers who opted for Ontario's EV corridor instead, citing better power grid reliability and a $150 million battery recycling grant package. According to the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics, factory job growth in the southern region slowed to just 0.4% in Q2 2025, while Canada posted a 3.2% jump, largely fueled by U.S. company migrations. While the South still offers short-term cost advantages, Canada is outpacing it on long-term climate infrastructure, export stability, and green tech funding. Companies are no longer choosing the cheapest place to build. They're choosing the safest place to grow. In the Northeast U.S., another type of relocation is unfolding. Quieter, but just as significant. Biotech firms in Massachusetts. Precision engineering companies in upstate New York. Medical device manufacturers in Pennsylvania. All moving, expanding, or duplicating operations in Montreal, Ottawa, and Toronto. What's fueling the exodus in 2025? Speed, incentives, and ecosystem alignment. Canada's 2025 Innovation Relocation Program, launched in March, offers up to $12 million in matching R&D funds for U.S.-based firms willing to co-locate in key Canadian tech corridors. Massachusetts lost 3 medtech startups this quarter alone to Montreal's AI-driven pharma cluster, citing easier IP protections and access to government-funded lab space. In New York, advanced materials firms say zoning approvals in Toronto take 40% less time thanks to Canada's new National Tech Zone fast-track policy. Pennsylvania's bleeding-edge optics manufacturers are chasing Ottawa's $1.8 billion quantum infrastructure package, the largest public investment in quantum technologies outside China. Beyond tax breaks, it's about talent. Canadian universities are producing top-tier STEM graduates at record pace, and the government now fast-tracks tech immigration under its Tech Super Visa program. For U.S. states struggling with gridlock, regulation, and slow permits, this isn't just a brain drain. It's a full-scale innovation realignment, and the Northeast is quietly falling behind. The real question now, who's reaping the rewards? Canada's factory belt is expanding at breakneck speed. While U.S. states debate, Canada is building. Ontario has added over 9 million square feet of industrial space since 2024. Quebec's factory zone around Trois-Rivières is seeing 22% year-over-year growth in logistics output. Alberta's Edmonton corridor now boasts some of the lowest electricity rates for industrial users in North America. The rise of Canada's factory belt is no accident. It's policy-driven, capital-backed, and quietly coordinated across provinces. What's more, Canadian provinces are working with Indigenous landholders to fast-track infrastructure approvals while respecting environmental thresholds, something U.S. states have struggled to do. It's an industrial model that blends modern planning with political unity, and it's starting to outperform America's fragmented state-by-state approach. The next question is, what's driving the flight? U.S. policy paralysis. Behind this migration lies a simple truth. Companies hate uncertainty. In 2025, U.S. trade and industrial policy has become a moving target, and firms are voting with their feet. Since late July, Trump's revived 35% universal tariff proposal has thrown export-heavy states like Michigan and Georgia into lobbying panic. At the same time, key green energy tax credits are under legal review in the Supreme Court, creating fresh hesitation among clean tech manufacturers. Even the CHIPS Act, once a symbol of federal resolve, is now mired in distribution delays, with over $11 billion in pending grants stalled at the state level. And Buy American provisions? They've sparked retaliatory procurement restrictions from Canada and Europe, making it harder for U.S. suppliers to win international contracts. Meanwhile, States like Ohio and Wisconsin have seen their industrial stimulus bills fail amid partisan gridlock. Contrast that with Canada. The Federal Provincial Industrial Compact passed in May ensures synchronized incentives across provinces. And Ottawa's new export reliability framework guarantees credit insurance for manufacturers through 2030. For executives, the equation is clear. While the U.S. plays policy roulette, Canada is offering predictability and winning ground factory by factory. This isn't just a moment. It's a momentum shift. Canada isn't taking factories by force. It's attracting them by design. Through tax coordination, energy policy, and cross-border diplomacy, it has become the quiet frontrunner in North America's industrial realignment. But here's the big question. Will the U.S. respond or continue reacting? The 10 states losing ground today, Michigan, Ohio, Texas, Georgia, South Carolina, New York, Massachusetts, Pennsylvania, Illinois, and Indiana still have the talent, the infrastructure, and the legacy. But legacy doesn't fund factories. And in a decade where policy moves faster than politics, only one of those is sustainable. If this trend continues, the Make It in America revival may be outsourced to Canada permanently. Canada's competitive incentives, stable policies, and growing industrial zones are attracting U.S. companies at an unprecedented rate. This trend is reshaping the North American manufacturing landscape and raising urgent questions about the future of American industry. And there you have it. Why 10 U.S. states are losing factories to Canada at a pace that's hard to believe. If you found this breakdown valuable, watch our next video. It connects directly to what's unfolding. And don't forget to subscribe. Your support helps us decode these global shifts without compromise. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.